We can never ignore that price of the books, right? The cost of which are very much affected by the cost of the production of the books are very, very much rising at the moment. Yep, everyone to have access to good books or good educational books, and we want to do it in a way that is more sustainable. In such a simple way of teaching you about this, and you learn so much. So this is what we always say, by doing so little you gain so much. So I think this is what the students nowadays are, right? They do not want to go through that big stacks of information.
Yes.
Notebook LM, bring me, then I will decide.
Hello and welcome to SDG 101 Conversations for Change, a podcast series where we dive into real stories, grassroots efforts, and expert insights that bring the Sustainability Development Goals, the SDGs, to life. In each episode, we explore how individuals and communities are turning global goals into local action, inspiring change for a better, more sustainable future. In today's episode, we are honoured to speak with Encik Azmir, the Corporate Engagement Outreach Manager from Pelangi Publishing Group. So what we're going to talk about today is on Pusat Pendidikan Kelestarian Pelangi, or I will be referring throughout this episode as Pelangi Sustainability Education Centre. It is a sustainability awareness initiative program by Pelangi Publishing Group, officially launched. It's still in its baby steps on 19th May 2025, located in Bandar Baru, Bangi. So we're excited to hear his insights, Encik Azmir's insight on sustainability awareness before, during, after planning and launching the program. So welcome to the podcast, Encik Azmir.
Thank you for having me here. It's a pleasure, always.
All right. How are you today?
Oh, I'm good. Yes, I'm a little bit nervous. As mentioned, this is my first time, but all and well, thank you so much for the opportunity.
All right. Thank you for your time today. So because we're going to talk about this new thing that you have in store for all of us. So we'll be discussing this new program called, again, Pelangi Sustainability Education Centre. So let's get started. All right. So to start this off, let's do this easy, quick and easy.
Yeah, right.
Okay.
I like that.
Could you please share with us, or at least with the listeners and watchers, what exactly is this education centre, Pelangi Sustainability Education Centre?
So, Pelangi Sustainability Education Centre is a platform that we have created to create awareness among school communities on sustainability practices. So, it all started when we think about that we have a lot of advocates, we have a lot of practitioners on championing sustainability way of living, but all this we need to connect with the upcoming generation. And these are what we are looking at our school children. So that is where we create this platform where we hope we can actually bridge experts, practitioners, younger generation, specifically school communities, to learn, to be aware, to embrace the sustainability practices in their everyday life.
I see.
Yes.
All right. That's actually a very noble act for that, because that's the main reason why a lot of things in education feels very distant, because we don't have the connection between the people who are in it, right?
Right.
Okay. Is that considered to be the main inspiration for this program, or maybe do you have like an origin story how this came about?
Well, at the very heart of it, Pelangi has always been conceived by an educator. The spirit, the love of education, and the belief, the aspiration that all the children, everyone should have access to good education. So when we say good education, there are many stakeholders. There are teachers, there are ministries, there are NGOs, they are very part of it. But we cannot run that there is this particular area or this specific area, these resources that needs to support education, that will facilitate students, children and school to learn better. Yep. So in this way, we always see what is we have always been very, very good in terms of following the curriculum, your sejarah, your maths, your physics. But then again, we believe, especially at this point of time, education goes beyond classroom. It should go to enrich. So we have talked about robotics, we have talked about STEM, we have a lot of programs in terms of arts and fine arts. But what we notice is that there is not much sustainable programs that aim for students or for school communities. There are a lot, don't get me wrong, there are a lot of campaigns, there are a lot of awareness campaigns, but what we wanted to do is to really connect these wonderful, incredible practitioners, advocates, experts with the school community.
I see.
Yeah. Oh, and one more thing, and most importantly, the connection. Yep, that part where it glues and gels everything together, where we will come in, where we actually bring together what they learn in the classroom and what has been being practiced in the real world. Yes, that real world connection.
I see.
Yeah.
So that's what you meant by the bridge.
Correct.
I
yes.
see. Okay. So from my perspective as someone who is very new into this SDG topic and understanding, this seems like what you would call quality education, right?
Right. Yes.
Right. Okay. So that's one of the SDGs, right?
Correct.
So do you have a specific or any other SDGs that your project directly contributes to?
Oh, yes. I think that's very interesting. So along the line, as we aspire ourselves to ensure that books are affordable to everyone, regardless where you are or where the students are, but we can never ignore that price of the books, right? The cost of which are very much affected by the cost of the production of the books are very, very much rising at the moment. Yep, because of the cost of the raw materials such as papers, and sooner or later we never know the cost of electricity, the other utilities. So that is very uncertain. So at this moment of time, Pelangi Publishing, I think the one and only publishing in Malaysia at the moment, has decided to go fully solar powered. So using and applying renewable energy. So apart from contributing to cleaner air, reducing carbon dioxide emissions, right? We are also looking at for the fact that even if in the future there is a rise of cost or the price of paper, we would be able to kind of like counter it with our efficiency of cost saving in terms of other areas such as electricity. Yep. And this also basically once we solar powered our whole plant, which we have done. And interestingly, that it was finally activated last month, we can see the significant drop in terms of the monthly bill, the electric bill. And on top of that, this gives us the opportunity to change or to all our LPG running machinery, such as our forklift, our lift trucks, right, that are running on LPG, that are emitting carbon dioxide, to be fully EV'd. Yep. So I think that is also a way that we can contribute. So take for this for example, whether I'm taking 100 books or 5 books for 100 meters distance, I'll be using the same amount, almost the same amount of LPG fuel, and that basically will be reduced tremendously by changing it to an electrical powered machines.
I see. Okay, so that's already considered like the core of your center, right? Because you are also running on sustainable energy, and then you are, if I'm not mistaken, it's how you are going to teach the students who come as well, right? So it's like a live demonstration.
Yes, I think this is where it's actually interesting, because I'm not too sure about others, but I could be just, making some generalization here. When we think about every time when we talk about, or when people talk to me about renewable energy, I'm thinking about that big blue skies in, most probably in America, where you see the wind turbines, right? Or you can see the huge solar panels in the middle of the desert. But what if, right, when you want and this is part of the children's or the student syllabus in Malaysia, we talk about energy conversion, where they come to our site, where they have a viewing deck to see how spread out the solar panels are, how huge, and then they will see how the inverters are working, and how basically where we actually use a lot of our street lights, they are all connected, so they might not see the ones in the building, so they can really experience in the local settings and see how these things are being implemented in the real world. And not just that, and I think we are quite fortunate where we can see that there are a few factories around our building, they're also solar panel. So the fact that, if there are any thinking or perception among them saying that, oh, these solar panel are only in the Western world or in the advanced countries, I hope so they are proud to say a lot of Malaysian industry companies are also moving towards renewable energy. Yeah. So, that sense of pride, sense of that, that we can do it too. So I hope, that when this generation, as they grow and move to the working world, they are more informed and exposed, right? That this can be done.
Yes, that's true actually, because like you said, we hear about the solar panel energy, how they want to convert the energy. There are a lot of things that they say. They say a lot, but we can't see it. So especially when the younger generation, I'm not considering myself as a younger generation, but
you're younger than me.
Yes, and I also teach the younger generation.
Right, okay.
So I see that sometimes they say this. They always say, oh, I never see. So it's like I can only tell them to go on YouTube to find it. But they have to see it in real life to actually believe it, especially when they're young, because they have to see it. So as we get older, we understand theory better, right? So then when we talk about the big words, they're only understanding, okay, solar. So what then? So when you bring them to actually see these things and how the other factories around that is also doing that, they will see, oh, this is not actually a new thing. This is actually has been going on. I have just not been seeing this. Okay, that's amazing actually.
Yeah. It's basically amazing. I mean, even if you think about that magnitude of perception, right? So solar, most probably people like, at that age, most probably they would, well, at least during my time, I have to forgive this, it's calculator, right? You have the calculator, so that already fascinates us. So now, of course, you have LED lights, your street lights, your garden lights, you can see huge solar panels. But in the capacity, because I think somewhere end of this year, not only that they have a viewing deck to see the whole solar panel, they would also have a viewing deck where they can actually see how a warehouse is fully automated using robots, robots that move around, that pick up things using smart eye to recognize what are the books to be picked up and to be packed, right? So they can see how powerful what they think that sun is such sun is such an annoying to be, it makes you sweat and everything, but it's a powerful energy that that will humble you and see that it can actually run the whole building. So that's what we wanted to do. So we have this viewing deck, like a big glass panel, where they will actually come in and they will see all these robots in action, but it's not to see much of the robots, but it's mainly to see the power of renewable energy. So I think that will be exciting as well. Well, I'm sure the children will. I'm not sure whether the children will be super excited, but I definitely am excited.
It is actually exciting, because in my area, my neighborhood these days, they are trying to do, if you know, like bus schedules, we have it online, right?
Yes.
But then in other countries, they have it by the bus stop, and that uses energy, right? And that uses electricity. So in my area, they've started putting solar panels on top of the bus stop roofs so that they can put the schedules and everything, and it's in front of schools. So I see a lot of kids like looking up at the bus stop roof, and I see, what are you guys looking at? It's the solar panels and how they generate the energy to the bus schedule. So I think it will be interesting as long as they are still young and fresh in their mind, right? I think, well, teenagers will be fascinated as well. I'll just wish you luck on that. Okay. I think from the way you were explaining things, right, it's like you are already trying your best to solve a lot of problems, right? A lot of problems ongoing with energy, with education, with kids' short attention span and all of this, right? But then going along the way, I'm not sure how many years you've been preparing for this, right? So along the way, are there any gaps or like shortcomings or maybe any struggles, anything that you can share with us when you were trying to achieve your SDG objectives through this project?
Right. I think definitely there's a lot. So let me just try to pick up a few. All right. Okay. So like I mentioned, I could be very wrong, but I'm quite certain at this point of time that in terms of publishing, that we are, if we are not the only one, we are among the few to be looking in these areas in terms of using renewable energy. Why? Because we want to make sure that that books will remain always to be affordable by almost everyone in the country, right? So with that two synergy coming in, we could not find any local settings or local studies or local reference. So if we are asking whether what gaps are we looking at, it's definitely there's a lot, because in terms of, yes, we can compare ourselves with other countries, but sometimes the settings, the configurations could be very, very different. So along the way, there's trial and error, but like I mentioned, we are very, very lucky. For example, we have lecturers from local universities who come and advise us without any consultation cost, because they are excited as well for the fact that, that it's not too far from where they are at the moment. If this, which now it's already been installed, that they can actually bring their students, because that's the agreement, to bring their students over here and see, because even if you have other setups or sites that have this, but the accessibility to the students might be limited. So interesting that when you talk about accessibility is that it all started when we had our 𝗞𝗲𝘀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀, where we actually, in the whole idea of getting students to appreciate books, we open up our doors, especially on Thursday and on Saturday, for children and their parents and the teachers just to come to look at our printers, to look at our warehouse, and to see the whole how the publishing industry works. But now we have actually escalated that, say that even how this all works, it's all powered by solar energy, it can be renewable, and it's all automated, right? So this adds another layer to their whole trip. So this particular layer is the one that kind of like resonates very well with a lot of subjects, experts, engineers, professionals, because yes, they have all the knowledge, but for them, just like any other teachers, even at the schools, if I want to tell students about elephant, it's best for me to bring to the zoo. Obviously I can't bring an elephant to the school, right? But how to experience, to get awestruck with the whole, how big the elephant is, right? So this is where the so-called, we are blessed in that sense, that we were supported. So they were giving ideas. No, so there is nothing on paper. They didn't create a framework, but they throw us thoughts and ideas and considerations to kind of like short circuit our learning curves, right? So in that sense, so we have a lot, because we are not technical experts. Neither we are environmentalists. We do not know much about SDGs. We do not have experts. As a matter of fact, the department that you just mentioned, a lot of us are dual role. That means we have another main role in the company, but this is something that is an add-on to us to basically to run and to make sure that the implementation benefits and reaches the goal of the SDGs. Yes.
Nice. All right. Okay. So then I see that even though you had a lot of things that you need to overcome, a lot of things that you need to, fill in the gaps, you had a lot of support, right? But then I think that support is going to continue if you try to, tap into the different fields, especially if you talk about job opportunities, and especially for the children, they are always confused about their future, right? What they can be. It's not always just a teacher, a doctor, an engineer. There's so many things under that as well, right?
Correct.
So, and we are focusing a lot on SDG lately and on sustainability, so the children can also figure out that, hey, there's a lot that we can do in this field as well. So I think you're introducing to that area, which is good.
And I think, sorry, just to jump in, and I think that's the that's the part where at least that we are passionate about, right? As much as you say that, that you mentioned that there are a lot of opportunities when it comes to sustainability, you can be, to a certain extent, if you are from that creative industry, you become a good storyteller, to be the champion, the speaker, the influencer, to advocate on sustainability, right? And up to being very technical, very specialist. I am like renewable energy specialist, you can be up. So I think there are a lot of opportunities, but I think before even we go to that stage, right, there is this stage where, I don't know, I think that we personally feel that a little bit concerning, where just that, that love of learning, love of discovering, exploring something new, right? Whereas compared to I think, it's not fair for me to compare, because I think exploring, discovering is a totally new, what they call that, there's a new way, you can just look through the devices. It's online, it's virtual, right? But I think that part of that whole spirit would be enhanced, right? Not to say that it's not there when we do this bridge. So for example, let's say that, can I just safely say that you're an educator, right? So, I might come from a background saying that, jadi, becoming a teacher, I don't see that passion when I'm in class because, they keep on asking. But when they see you speaking and how you can dramatize, how you can tell stories, right? Most probably you will inspire one or two who wants to become like you. So that's the same thing. When I think there is this one very amazing young man who is going around, and he is almost like the local Steve Irwin, where he will go around and he will look for for our local native animals that are in danger, at the point of extinction that we didn't know. So, and I think if a person, an individual, which I believe there's a lot, there's a lot of them around, right? Malaysians are wonderful, but I think if they have a platform where they can connect with children, so out of that, we want to say that out of the 20, maybe one would say that, you know what, I didn't have plans to go to university or didn't plans to study, but this is an area that is intriguing, right? So I think these are the things. So these have been proven when you talk about robotics, right? There are incidences where they are not interested or engaged in classroom, but the moment you assign them to assemble robots, to make things work, I think that is almost what we wanted to do. So in a more general and open form, where we will bring historians, we will bring educators, we will bring subject specialists to come on board. Even we are encouraging, but of course this is another level where we are bringing in undergraduates. Because kalau they lihat, they see, or if they see, right, if they see their brothers, their sisters, how how they enjoy, how they're passionate about, they learn. Hopefully that kind of like rub a little bit on them. That I think going to university not that bad. It can be one of my options, right?
So that falls under the whole visual learning as well, right? Because when they see and they see, oh, this is like a happy thing, a good thing. So maybe I can be that as well, right? I can go that direction as well. Yes, that's very true. I think that's also how we can move to the next part where we talk about the love of learning.
Right.
Yeah. So when I was a bit confused in the beginning, because what exactly would you be teaching, right, at the center? Because it's about sustainability, but then again, you are a publishing group. You publish books. Then how do these things connect, right? So then when you mentioned the love of learning, so maybe there's something in there, or maybe like an approach or model that you've applied. So can you tell us about that?
Yeah, to start with an example before I encapsulate everything in a framework. To start an example is that in the classroom or in school, at least I know in upper primary, they learn about plants. And plants, oh my goodness, they are such important organism, but they are very static. Right? What you will see is just a glorious mess of green and leaves and wood. But if you understand, you appreciate how intelligently designed this organism, these plants are. So one thing that we have created was a module on 𝗞𝗲𝘀𝗀𝗀 seed. So I'm not even going to ask whether the students know what is a 𝗞𝗲𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀, whereas our forests are practically 𝗞𝗲𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀 forest. So these are characteristic of, trees that have characteristic that they produce seeds that have wings, right? So basically, I would call it the helicopter seeds, where, from the very tall, humongous trees, it will fall, it will spin, and it will be blown away by the wind as far as possible from the parent plant, so that they can too grow up healthily without competition. So all that they actually learn in the school. So they learn about competition, intra-species, interspecies. They learn about dispersals. They learn about survival. They learn about adaptation. But all this is in 2 dimensions. So we have these botanists who come, who basically show and demonstrate that how these seeds work. So he has his own, what they call that, collection of knowledge and specimens that show students that this is how it looks like and this is what we are trying to save, right? So these are what they call that. And then not just in terms of biology, so these particular seeds are also become a challenge For example, they have to apply physics, whether it's free falling, whether it's gravitational force, whether it's friction, right? So what they have to do is that they have to create seats that probably suspend the longest in the air. So they have to create a model and basically just throw it in the air or throw it from the fourth floor and see which model suspends longest in the air.
Yeah.
Or they would actually have the one that basically is being dispersed or goes trajectorily, that it goes the furthest away from where it's supposed to fall.
Yeah.
So I think all that they will apply physics, and then it will make that meaningful connection to what they learn in the classroom. So the joy of learning, back to this. So the meaningful of learning is basically is that one particular framework, but where you ask how does, whether we like it or not, a publisher is still a commercial entity. So the joy of learning, and we couple it with the cost efficiency. That is where the renewable energy comes in. And then, of course, which we do not speak about today, which we have a lot of partners, whether it's NGO, whether it's dealers, distributors, that make sure that these books reach out to all the children. And I think on top of everything, somewhere in the center is that education. So all this would lead to that particular part where we want everyone to have access to good books or good educational books, and we want to do it in a way that is more sustainable.
So there's a lot that you can bring into the center, right? And you can give back to the kids, to this community, to the people, to the teachers as well, right?
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yes.
So it's not going to be like one of those what do we call it, like a field trip to like the chocolate factory that's just looking. So it's more in depth, right?
Right.
So it's like, I think it could be a very I would say a wholesome experience for the kids, especially if the teachers are more involved with it. So it's gonna go great, I think. But still, it is early stages, so we can't really say, right? But then again, even though you're still in the early stages, I still have to ask you, like, some of these questions that's going to maybe rack your mind a little bit. So even though it's still early, have you maybe seen like any results from collaborations, or maybe from experimentation stages? Have you seen any sort of results that says that this center is good, that it's going in a good direction? Have you seen that?
Well, I mean, to be very honest, very straightforward, not yet. Yes, we haven't come to that point, but the little indicators that we get, So definitely when we talk about the impact or what we see that will resulting from this effort, or how receptive it is, I think number one, we will look at the internal. So definitely we have we have departments that look into the operational costs, so they can see this drastic cost saving once we start using renewable energy and other initiatives. And then I think in terms of, there's a whole lot of story how we save the number of pages. Right. And then I think there is this external part where we have actually launched some teaser. So I think one of the things that we did was that we have established is this 𝗞𝗲𝘆 buku. Again, I'm going there. So 𝗞𝗲𝘆 buku, yes, we can just say it's educational tour. It's a book workshop, publishing workshop, where children will actually come in, and then they will not only learn about the industry, but they will have the experience of making their own books, right? But throughout this, we will always incorporate themes, like for example last month was the International Biodiversity Week, so we have like My Wild Adventure Bookshop. This month, June, we will have our World's Ocean Day, which is the My Splashing Adventure Bookshop. So these have been incorporated, and we do have quite a few organizations that wanted to come in and see how they can actually incorporate what they advocate into the workshop. So that is more of a plug-in, but of course moving forward we would like them to be like, I think we work closely with this one particular STEM organization. So this STEM organization, their name is not STEM, but they lead into the what they call STEM. So one of the things that they actually talk about was about hydro rocket, powerful hydro rocket, right? So they need a big area. So that's what we have. A big area where they can actually set up, configure it, and then see which rocket launches with the most powerful energy. Right. So if we have more of those type of organizations that come in, like I said, we are not experts in but then that will be one of our success. But of course, it's the participation of the students. I think that, but I think the end game, I think which I've mentioned to you earlier before this show, was that if, this is one thing that, how we are very particular about our intellectual property when it comes to publishing, but this is one thing, hey, just take this and go back to your school and advocate. Right, do it in your school, because the more schools replicate, whether it's a more sustainable way of packaging using leaves, or you are powering using solar at a smaller scale, please, by all means, take this idea and replicate in your schools and advocate. Yep.
I see. So I think that's considered like small success, right? Small victories that is leading to a bigger victory in the future.
Right.
I never heard actually about the Kembara buku, sorry?
Yes, correct. Yes.
Kembara buku. But it's very interesting because you are involving the children in the process, right?
Correct.
And that's also like the first step into getting into the center, because the center is also getting the kids into the whole process of it. That's good. So then, when you mentioned just now that some people have come in to see how they can have their own, maybe, I don't know, products or anything they advocate for in your whole process. Do you have any already in the works that will become your collaborators in the future, or?
Oh, well, I mean, we do have, to be very honest, even though we haven't signed the dotted lines, but this is where, we understand in this age where I think it's better to have everything above board, and basically, black and white. But, the good feeling that we have, at least at the moment, is that a lot of them are on board without any obligations, without anything to talk about, future investment, what is the ROIs, So we have this very wonderful people from this organization called Leave a Nest, So we had a very small event, and we call a very small group of teachers, but they came in full force. And with jars and food coloring and cotton balls. So we thought, like, how high tech this could be. But what they wanted to show teachers is that even with this minimal resources, which you can get from Eco Shop, the things that they learn. So what they showed is that, I think, pardon me if I don't get it right, I'm not a physicist. So what they say is that, have you ever wondered how, colored photographs are produced of planet Mars, Neptune, whereas the galaxy is pitch black, right? So how, right? So the thing is that apparently they played with the frequency. They do the analysis and everything. So how these primary colors are basically being put together, and these are all very technical, but it all being explained using a jar, some cotton balls, and food coloring, and then they call it Galaxy in a Jar. So that particular, even when I thought that is something very preschoolers do, right? But when the moment they stick to it, you can see even adults. And I'm like a super senior adult, so even like me would be, amazed. Like, I didn't know about this. I know about primary colors. Don't get me wrong, yes, correct. And I know about wavelengths, about color spectrums, right? But I never knew that, that such a simple way of teaching you about this, and you learn so much. So this is what we always say, by doing so little, you gain so much. So I think this is what the students nowadays are, right? They do not want to go through that big stacks of information.
Yes.
Notebook LM, bring me, then I will decide, using my cognitive skills to decide whether I want, whether this is the information I need, is this the way I want it, right? So we are going into another generation, and I think for us publishers who have been for 46 years, almost half a century, I think this is something, right, that we really have to embrace.
Yes.
We have to accept the fact.
That's very true, actually, because I always tell my students as well, if they are using ChatGPT or Google or anything, it's fine, but it's for you to brainstorm, because if you just search it up, so many information is going to come, right? And then you don't know which one is right, which one is relevant or not. So you just need someone to come in and tell you that this is true, but for a different area. This is
Right.
true for a different area. So then when you bring them into real life and show them what you've been searching online, is just this part of it. You don't know the rest of it. So come and learn more with us. It's actually very, what do you call that? Hands-on.
Right.
Yeah, it's very immersive as well. That's good. Then you mentioned how the teachers, right? They were educators.
Right.
They were very passionate about the whole thing, and they didn't. And some of the collaborators that you have in line are actually planning to do this with you without actually thinking about the technicalities, the the things in the future that we don't want to
Correct.
think about yet,
Yes.
right? So is this like, in your opinion, do you think this will ensure your project remains sustainable and relevant in the long term? Do you think they will contribute to that, or do you think is there another thing?
Well, call me old-fashioned, yeah, but you see, I think in terms of building this partnership, building support, I think it's a two-way communication. I mean, there are a lot of external. I mean, it's a two. There's a lot of other factors, but from my little experience, why we are at the moment getting what they call that, some very good and wonderful individuals, organizations to support us, is basically, I think, equally as much. I think it's that a lot of organizations, a lot of opportunities nowadays, they do not want to be, to be taken advantage of, right? So I think it's a collaboration. It's kind of something that is a mutual. That means, hey, I produced until this part. I have prepared the setup. I've did all these modules. I think this is my strategy and this is my plan. And I think I need to basically share with them, and then they add on to it, because at this point of time, or at this particular situation, it is where, I need their help. So basically, I just have to make sure that the platform, everything is being set up, and they are convinced that we are serious about it. Because I think a lot of, and I can understand, because I used to be involved with a lot of NGOs as well. I think a lot of things that we, I'll give a very classic example. Sometimes we help to, I mean, this is not bad. I mean, sometimes we just like, we help to clear up a certain areas, right? Let's say a backyard of a school. So we do a clear up, because we feel that the children needs to have a healthy environment. But then that's it. It's a one-hit wonder. Clear, it's nice, it's beautiful. We plant plants and we go home, right? But then again, now it depends on the ownership
Yes.
of the school to basically to retain or to maintain it, right? So once or twice, the vegetable gardens become a secondary forest, things like that. So in a way, like I said, so most probably it doesn't happen to us, but it could be one of the considerations of the other NGOs as well, or other organizations. Yeah.
I see. So what you're saying is like the baseline is that you need to have a mutual understanding that you're doing this not just for the production and everything, or for the money. It's for the children, and it's also for the sustainability.
Or the viral publicity.
Yeah. So it's gonna rely a lot on the trust, right?
Right, yes. I think trust and commitment.
Oh yeah, of course. A lot of commitment actually.
Yes, correct.
Oh, I forgot to ask you just now. How long did you prepare for this project actually?
Oh, like I said, I think the mentioning of this to the I mean to the whole, in general, was quite some time. But the one that basically materialized this was about, I think, right after the pandemic. So I think there was what do you call it? We started with our 𝗞𝗲𝘆𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀 buku, when we are allowed to do tours or receive guests, under certain conditions. And then I think it kind of like stagnant there for about 2 or 3 years, means that we keep running the program until last October, when the solar panels were installed. I think that was the time then, my boss, by basically the management, would say, hey, let's go with this, we have done this. So that is where, if you ask me how long we have prepared for this, is almost, this is our 8th month. So it's in October. Yes. But we really started to work on, but a lot of us, like I said, we are on dual roles. So basically the first 2 months was just, mahjong papers, Canva, but we really sit and start to work on it was on January. In January, we started in January. Yes.
Oh, so the whole, like the intention and the planning was, it's been a couple of years, because there's always the intention for it, but then the actual implementation.
Yes.
It's been actually, this is quite quick paced because suddenly from October and then moving to May, it's actually very quick. But yeah, that's something to commend about.
Right.
All right. Okay. So then,
So,
seeing that you have a lot of passion for this and seeing how you also appreciate other people's passion for this, and you also mentioned how other organizations and communities are trying to get into this whole field, then what advice would you give to them trying to align their own work to SDGs?
right. Well, I can only give from the perspective of a commercial entity because that's what we are. All in all, we are still a publishing industry. I mean, we are in the publishing industry, and we do need to have our positive commercial transaction. So, but I think I mean, it's easy for any big organization just to to invest in a big, huge campaign and let's do this something. But as long as you have the funds and the resources to run it, especially by a third party, that's fine. That's very sustainable in a way. But looking at the size of our organization and the fact that this is something new and that it's I mean, we have a long way to go. I think it's to find that sweet spot where how you operate or how you do things, right, can can complement the whole sustainability, the whole idea or the whole aspiration on running a business sustainably, right? And on top of that, everything goes to that one goal. We are an educational publisher house, so we want to make sure that that everybody have the access to the education, because not that we are that we are very becoming very philosophical about it or very ambitious about it, but I think that's it. Just the fact of that, that we want everybody to have score A's or everybody become an engineers or become specialists, everything. But I think it's just the fact that once you understand things, when you have to you learn to love things. I mean, you love to learn things. Sorry about that. You learn to love things. I think that whole idea about making decision of inform. I'll give a very classic example there, that many of us, I'm probably one of them who, for example, who loves gardening, right? So what we always like to do is that we bring in some foreign plants. But the thing is that fine, but once we bring in that foreign plant, we must know the repercussion, right? Whether it's going to take over our native plants, right? So if it is it the container pot? What about the pollination? Do I snip out the flowers as it gets matured? So things like that. Even so, I think even to a certain extent, even if you want to become I shouldn't. Okay, let's say that even if you want to run a campaign on environment, so you release fish into the river, and then you are releasing most probably, let's say, a fish that doesn't belong in our ecosystem, that will basically overtake, or what they call that, a very invasive species. So, like I said, their intentions are perfect. I mean, we know why they want to do it, right? But if, let's say, that everybody have that spirit of learning, before I do something, let's do a little bit of reading about it, right? And the information is everywhere. So I think that is where we are looking at. So when you ask, you have that overarching goals that you want to reach. So this is the little things I can share if you want. So as long as you meet your goals, I believe that goes in the same direction of where you want to go. But how to get there? So can we do it sustainably, and at the same time, can we do it in a way that that basically it supports or it keeps us allows us to continue our business in a very positive transaction, right? So I think that particular, everything has to triangulate in, if you ask me. Yes. I mean, there's a lot of sub-triangular circles and squares here and there, right? But I think that overarching and triangulate your objective, you can't have everything, but I think that could be a way at least to start.
Yeah, we're going to use the word, the term that you use, the sweet spot.
The sweet spot,
the sweet spot in between, because people usually, they tend to lean to one side or the other, and usually you need the balance, right?
Right.
That's actually a noble way of thinking it, because yes, that's true. Intentions are good, but then we have to think about the impact, right? The impact will always overpower the intention.
Correct.
Okay, all right. So then, moving towards the end here,
Sure.
I think I only have like one more question.
Right.
So because this is still new, this program is still new. Do you have anything that's in the near future, maybe in the upcoming months? Do you have anything in plan? And do you know if you have a bigger plan to replicate this SDG impact that you have?
Well, this is the same thing that the management asked me, but not in that positive tone. It's like they are just wondering, so what else are you going to do? Right. So I think in general, we have 4 core programs. So we have mentioned about 𝗞𝗲𝘀𝘀𝗀𝗏𝗀𝗀 Buku. So Arena Ilmu is also a program that we have just launched. So this is where we create platforms and opportunity for students to have the intellectual discourse with subject specialists. Means that, fine, we give you this about this invasive plant or invasive fish, fine about it, use ChatGPT and everything, but let's have that conversation with us. What happens if you let it go in Sungai in Banting or in Bangi, or you let it go in the river of Klang River? So you see what are the repercussions. So these are the way that you can build up on technology. Right?
Sorry, what's the name again?
Arena Ilmu.
Arena Ilmu.
Yes. And then we have another one which is Ruang Lestari. So Ruang Lestari is a scientific way, where we would actually share with the students on how they can green audit their schools. Now, we are not talking about something technical. Green auditing is just that vehicle. Vehicle means that this is a tool. You go in and see whether how much 3Rs you're applying. So it is very basic or fundamental, but we want to train them, to be able to collect data, to present. So eventually there will be a contest, a poster contest, where we would actually have this competition where who has the best school audit or green audit, right? So I think that will come under Ruang Lestari. So we have Arena Ilmu, Ruang Lestari, 𝗞𝗲𝘀𝘀𝗀𝗀𝗀 Buku you have heard just now. And then I think on top of that, we are being a publisher, we call it Sembang Buku. So Sembang Buku is our book club. So again, all this about sustainability and everything, one particular way, there are many ways you can do it, you can always share this, right? So buku, we always put inverted commas, because buku to us is that, what we call that, we are the collectors of, what they call that, we are the collectors of knowledge. We are not knowledgeable people as a publisher. We collect knowledge, but what we do is that all this knowledge we weave into you can take it and use it and weave it into wisdom. So this Sembang Buku is basically just for the younger generation, especially, or even adults, to explore. If they want to go into publishing, they want to talk about things that they're passionate about, especially sustainability or conservation. Books, but if you feel that books is too much to write 100 pages, blogs, but you just, what we want to tell them is that credibility, the respect of people's, other parties, IPRs, intellectual properties, so if we encourage you to take, for example, from us, but let us know what do you want to take. So we want to rather, that, so we will also take some information from you and say, hey, this illustration is created by our wonderful reader, let's say Mr. Azam, things like that. So this is what we wanted to encourage, the sharing of information. So these 4 pillar programs, moving forward, we would broadcast this. So there will be one website where we call Pelangi Lestari. So we will have the programs there. So do join, like I said, so we will definitely open to the public, but we do have partner schools program where we work together with the City Council in Kajang. They have been very supportive, where we will encourage actually schools to come, to experience, to give. So we want them to be part of the creator. So it's not that Pelangi is the one who create this program. It's actually Pelangi and this school. Because they go through the pain, the sweat so that when your friends from other schools come, they will have a better program, a tested, proved program.
Okay, that's actually I think it's a full-leg plan already.
Right.
And it's interesting because I think I have to commend whoever is in your think tank. That's amazing, actually. Especially what's it again?
Arena
Ilmu. Because the thing about kids these days, they don't have people to talk to when they have these passion. The adults don't usually treat them like adults. They always treat them like, you're just children, just listen. But then the children if I listen, where do I output all of this? I want to ask questions and everything. So when you give them that platform, they will have more space to learn, right?
And what you say is definitely true, because I followed this one zoologist. And when you look at him, you think that he is. I mean, basically, he doesn't look like one, but he looks more like someone who goes to the forest and collect fruits. But the fact that that he's a zoologist, he's doing his PhD, and the fact that when he spoke about when he does live conversation, I mean the whole conversation that he has live on his social media account, right? I thought, oh, this is going to be boring, because a lot of his fellow scientists, his fellow colleagues, would be asking about the taxonomy, about the habitat, the ecological impact. But you have people like, does scorpions lay eggs? Of course, in Basma, they will ask, does scorpion lay eggs? Is it true that with the scorpion, for example, they say if you eat the scorpion, you don't eat the tail, you'll be safe. So you have, so you put all these questions aside, by the amount of interest and awareness you have created, like scorpions are not as bad as it sounds, or as it looks, or as you thought your perception about them. Yeah.
Okay.
So we wish we would have that charisma. We know we do not have, but we were learning from everyone, even from today. So I think all feedback we will refine, and hopefully, like I said, we might not be perfect. That's not our aim, but we hope someone who can grab this idea and set it up, who knows, maybe RDC, a community themselves, set it up and even make it better than us, right? So I think when you have all these what do you call that? These little explosions of mushrooms that grow everywhere, I think then the awareness makes sense, and it goes back to that part where I said there's a lot of wonderful people, wonderful work that is happening all around the world, and there's this younger generation that will soon be coming up. So if possible, let's short circuit that learning curve. And then I think as they grow up, like I said, our prayers will always, our wish and hope will always be that they will be better than us.
Yes. To be better than the previous generation.
The previous generation, we need you.
Yes. Yeah. I think that you actually wrapped everything up very nicely. I was about to ask if you have anything more to add, but that's very good. All right, thank you very much. So I think we've come to the end of today's episode. So as we close it, I think it's important to remember why the Sustainability Development Goals, the SDGs, are here, why they matter, right? So they provide a universal blueprint for dignity, equality, and a healthier planet. All right, so Encik Azmir, thank you so much for sharing with us about the Sustainability Education Center and also about your insight on the whole idea of it. So to our listeners, thank you very much for tuning in. If you've been inspired by this episode or by Encik Azmir himself, follow us on social media and stay connected. Join us again for SDG 101, Conversations for Change, where we continue highlighting voices and stories driving real impact. Until next time, stay informed, stay inspired, and stay committed to change. Thank you.
Thank you so much.